Get ready with me while I tell you guys about my revert story. So when I was a kid, I was actually christened. I think I was literally maybe like not even 1 year old. So I was a baby. And my whole life, I have grown up believing that there was a God. I used to always, I remember so clearly, pray before I went to sleep. But to be honest, I never really looked into religion. I just kind of knew from a very young age. Growing up, I learned a little bit about Islam, but I didn't know, again, too much. I just did the religious studies lesson in school and just had a lot of Muslims around me. It wasn't until about 2021 that I actually started looking into Islam. It was Ramadan, and where I worked, I had some Muslim sisters. So I just kind of just wanted to know why Muslims fasted, and I did my research from there. And then I just found the whole month of Ramadan so beautiful, and I just saw how much peace that the religion brought them. I remember every time that they prayed, they literally would come back and they would be so calm. Just now, obviously, I know there was so much nur on their face. It was honestly so beautiful. Like, I can't even explain. So that obviously sparked my interest. Like, how? Like, how? From that point up until I would say maybe 2023, I would do what you call like surface research, just to like kind of get a little bit of knowledge. But I believe it was August 2023 when I actually got the Quran and I started reading that. I remember reading, it was literally like a few pages, I think like 4 or 5, like I didn't read too much. But I remember reading and it was talking about like hypocrites and the punishment and essentially kafirs. And the fear that I felt at that moment, I was like, absolutely not. Because my belief in Allah, even though it was just like surface research, it actually was making so much sense to me, and I felt myself believing so much. Then it was September 2023 and I met my friend Amber, who is a revert as well, mashallah, she's on TikTok. She gave me this like new Muslim guidebook and I read that, and genuinely, again, I just felt so much more in love with Islam, and I was like, this is for me. Like, I can't even explain it. Guys, oh my goodness, I realised I've got my years muddled up. It was 2022, all of this was happening. Genuinely have already forgotten the years, like they've gone so quick. So 2022 September is when I met Amber, and I started reading the Quran for the first time and just knew that I believed. Was it 2022? It was 2022 that I started reading the Quran, and I met Amber in the September. And then I was, again, just looking into Islam. I couldn't really tell you too much about what I learned in that time, but I was just reading the Quran and just doing my own research. And in August of 2023 now, so we're actually in August of 2023, I really felt like I was ready to take my Shahada. Like, I felt it in my heart. Like, I really believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Islam, in everything. So I really was like, I need to take my Shahada now. I called London Central Mosque and they didn't answer the phone. Can you believe they didn't answer the phone? So I took that as a sign. I was like, do you know what? Maybe I'm not ready to take my Shahada just yet. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just panicking. And then I just genuinely became so depressed. Like, up until I would say the start of 2024 and the end of 2023. And I was going through so much in my life. I just thought, do you know what? I was already starting to pray at this point. So I thought, let me pray istikhara prayer. And that is what I prayed. And I can't even explain the way Allah literally answered. Within 24 hours, I knew that it was for me. Like, there was no other explanation, you know? So June 2024 came around and I took my Shahada at home on the day of Arafah. And then I took my Shahada again at London Central Mosque on the first day of the Islamic year. And I haven't looked back since. Genuinely, I think if my istikhara hadn't been answered, I don't know where I'd be now. I definitely would be a revert, but that was like yeah, this is it. Like, you are ready now, Chloe, you know? So yeah. To be fair, this is quite rushed. I don't really know what else to say. But alhamdulillah, I found Islam and it has brought me so much peace and has been the best thing that I've ever done. Why I took my Shahada twice. I really wanted to take my Shahada at a mosque. I felt like you had to as well, because obviously they give you a certificate and that allows you to go to Umrah. I think it was like 4 o'clock in the evening and I just was getting ready to pray. I think it was Asr prayer. And I was like, I'm going to pray Asr and then I'm just going to take my Shahada. I was in my abaya, I was in my hijab, and I prayed Asr and took my Shahada then. Then and there, it was between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when I tell you, I had this like weight on my shoulder for so long, like genuinely for so long. This weight was literally lifted the minute I took my Shahada. I can't even make it up. I just cried and cried and cried, and it was the best experience of my life. Like, alhamdulillah, like, I can't even put into words. After 3 years of research, I took that step, I took that leap, and it was the most beautiful thing. One of my dreams, inshallah, one day I get to go, is to go to Umrah and perform Hajj. So you do need a Shahada certificate for this. So I actually went to London Central Mosque. It's like a little course, like lesson they do. I don't know if you call it a lesson, a lecture. And it's like an introduction to Islam. And when I was there was an imam and he came over and spoke to me and my friends. It was like, have you guys reverted? Like, what's the situation? And I explained to him that I'd actually taken my Shahada at home like 3 weeks prior to this, but I hadn't taken it at a mosque. He was like, do you want to take it now? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I was in London Central Mosque and I did my Shahada with 2 of my really close friends, which I honestly, again, couldn't have planned it any better. I couldn't have gone any better. And I then got my Shahada certificate, which now allows me to go to Umrah, perform Hajj. The reason I did it at home on the day of Arafah, because I was so nervous about going to the mosque, and that is so normal. And I know there's so many people looking into reverting that are also nervous to go to the mosque. Guys, honestly, I've been to the mosque quite a few times now and it's not scary. Everyone is so lovely there. Genuinely, the Ummah is so supportive. And when you go to a mosque and you've got all these sisters around you that are just so lovely, I can't even explain. Like, it's a different type of like heartwarming feeling. You're literally at home. You are literally at home. It's amazing. So I was still nervous anyway, regardless. If you are nervous to go to the mosque, obviously you've got nothing to be worried about. But you, alhamdulillah, like I've said many times, Allah is the best of planners, and this is the way that He had planned it for me. And if you guys are ready, you feel it in your heart, and you know that Islam is the truth, you don't be afraid.